All right, for all of our Metal-O-Maniacs out there, I am very excited right now to be joined by Jason from Overkill. If you follow the show, you know I am a lifelong Overkill worshiper, and shit, my man Jason's got cred from Shadows Fall, which I'm a huge fan of. You've been in part of Flotsam and Jetsam, which I'm a huge fan of. So how are you, sir? I guess. How are you doing today, brother?
Exhausted. I'm tired recuperating from playing in all those bands and going out and seeing bands and everything else. We just got home from that Megacruise, and that pretty much wrapped up 5 weeks of touring. So everybody was pretty beat down by the time we got home. So
yeah,
it's good to get some time off and recharge.
Yeah, that you're doing that now, right?
I'm trying to. Even though I'm on a plane off to the West Coast tomorrow to deal with my other business. So I'm always coming or going. It's ridiculous.
Hey, brother, no rest for the wicked, my friend.
Mm-mm.
Well, and it's funny to talk about that because, you, of course, are a part of Overkill now. You've been in Overkill for the last couple of years. And they're known for being such a prolific band. Is it a different work ethic that you've noticed being in Overkill as opposed to other bands you've been in? Because, their reputation is such that they're really like kind of stay nose to the grind. Is that something that you found to be true?
No, absolutely. But I don't, that's absolutely 110% true. But I don't find that's not any different from any of the bands that I've been in previously, because Shadows Fall was the same way. Shadows Fall toured even harder than Overkill does. Overkill back in the day toured just as hard, but nowadays don't tour in that manner. When I was in Flotsam and Jetsam, that was very much a DIY ethic as well with us, and just nose to the grindstone, and whatever we had to do to make the show happen, we made it happen.
Fuck yeah, that's good shit,
brother. And as much as we possibly could. The limited amount of touring we were doing is because we just weren't getting enough offers, which is one of the main reasons, one of the bigger reasons why I left to join Overkill. Is just Overkill is just a bigger band in the food chain, and just gets more opportunities. And ironically enough, in the last year, Flotsam has been kicking some major ass, and they're pretty much they're running their tails, and they're starting to get some great offers too. And I'm like, hey.
But I think that's a sign of the times, brother. I think metal is really having a resurgence right now, man.
Yeah, I do too, and I hope that's the case, because I know that I turn 50 next year, and I'm pretty much what they call unemployable. So I need something to do at least for the next 10 to 15 years before I even think about that word retire. Thank God my wife has a good job.
Hey, this music thing needs to have legs on it for a few more years, right?
It needs to have legs on it. It needs to have legs on it years ago, but yeah, you know what? Hey, Walmart's are always hiring part-time, so hey.
Hey, we just said metal's making a comeback, man. Hopefully it never gets to that, right? You know what I mean? Well, tell me a little bit about the Megadeth cruise, if you don't mind. What was your feelings on that whole experience?
To be quite honest with you, I was probably over it by the second day.
I've heard a lot of that, actually.
It had nothing to do with the cruise itself. See, all right, here's the first thing.
It's a logistical nightmare.
No, well, yeah, that it was, but it really, in terms of reality, it wasn't really that bad. The only thing that kind of sucked is that, speaking of Anthrax, Charlie lost his drum tech like a little bit before, a little while before the Megacruise, and contacted my tech about working for him like a week beforehand. And I was like, hey, as long as it doesn't end up in a double down situation on the boat where I'm the guy who's going to have to take a back seat. And that's exactly what happened because of the way the scheduling was. So in reality, it was kind of when the guy who should be setting up the drums is setting up someone else's drums, and I'm there setting up drums, that's not why I'm there. I'm not paid to set the drums up. I'm paid to play the drums, thankfully.
That's right.
But like I said, I'm a team player, no big deal. But it was just the fact that when I go on a vacation, because that's literally what it's supposed to be too. I mean, yeah, you're working because we do have 2 shows, but there was 2 days of free time afterwards, and I was exhausted from playing the shows. It was just like being like on tour for another week. Like the day that we had the first day off, I walked out on the deck of our room. I just sat out there in the sun for like half an hour, and I just walked right back to the bed. Got right back in bed and put my feet up and turned the TV on. My wife's looking at me. I'm like, it's about all I want to do right now, to be quite honest with you. It's just late.
I need this. I need to recharge here.
Vacation to me means you stop at some point and you stay somewhere. We like to go somewhere we can go to a beach, we can walk into our room, we can go get a drink, we do whatever we want to do, but it's not this being on a boat and shaking all over the place for 5 days straight. I think
it would make me sick.
I've never been on a cruise before, and it was nice that I didn't have to pay for this one, so I'm not going to complain. And it was great seeing all the bands and all my friends in the bands and stuff like that. I mean, that's always an awesome time. None of that was bad in any respect. All the bands kicked ass. The food was good on it and all that, but it was just the everything else around it.
Makes you feel stretched like a rubber band, I'm sure, by the time.
Yeah, yes, it does. Yes, it does. And by the time we get home, 'cause that was right after a tour, and like, you know, if I'm on a month tour, I want to come home and relax and just decompress for a week. My body needs it. You're going nonstop. You have no days off while you're playing, and the body just needs to decompress and heal a little bit. And
as a drummer,
we just started doing that, and then we're getting on a plane to LA to go do this boat. It's just like, it's like I was like 65% recharged, but not to full capacity.
Right. I need another couple of weeks, brother.
Yeah. You know, just another week to not have to travel.
How was the fans' response though on the ship? How did you notice? Was there a lot of interaction with the fans? Were you given the opportunity to do that, or were you kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I was out and about on the boat on the days off and stuff. You know, you're always going to be your own worst critic when you're on stage. And we're all like that. We're very critical of the performance that we give. And there's those nights where you may think that you're slaying it on stage, but really you're not. And, you know, it comes across like that. And you see a video or something, you're like, oh shit, I thought we were like kicking ass that night. But then it's like always almost the opposite too. Those nights where you think, oh, this kind of sucks. I don't have the energy tonight. I don't know if the crowd's into it. And then you see videos, you're like, oh my God, that's sick. That seemed nothing like that when it was happening. So that happens all the time. So once again, I thought we had good shows on the boat. The first one was pretty late. We didn't go on until 10 after 12, like midnight plus 10 minutes, not 12 in the afternoon. For those of us coming in off the East Coast, that's 3 in the morning. So we're just like, oh God. All right, time to go rock and roll. And then the second show was on the deck, and that was nicer because it was only 11 o'clock at night. The only drawback with that one was 58 degrees at sea, and we were moving.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that was fun. Nice to get them bones moving at that temperature, right?
I was already dreading it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. We're in sound check. I'm like, this is gonna suck. I had because I normally play like I have a sleeveless t-shirt and shorts. It's like I look like I'm going to the gym when I go on stage because I sweat a lot. So I need to be able to move. I went on stage with a sleeveless shirt, a t-shirt over that, a long sleeve shirt over that, and then my hoodie over that with a beanie hat. And by the second song, I'm just like, I'm trying to get everything off before, I got to count it in. And I'm like, because once you hit the lights, it's a totally different situation. But when you're walking around the boat on the ground waiting to go on, and you're just, like, oh my God, it's so cold. How the hell am I going to do this? And then you walk upstairs, you walk up on the deck and it's 30 degrees warmer. You're like, oh, all right, thank God. This is tolerable.
Well, and if I could say as a drummer, that could be rough on your body, brother. You go from cold to having to get up there and start swinging.
Very rough on your body, especially when your opening tune is in the stratospheres over, 180, 190 BPMs.
What you open with?
Last Man Standing, the opening song on the new album.
What's your favorite song to play on the new record, if you don't mind my asking?
Probably that, because we've only been playing a few of them. We rehearsed Believe in the Fight a few times in rehearsals, and that's gone in the set, except for it never seems to make it actually on the stage in the set. It goes as far as of being in the set list and maybe being played in sound check, and then it gets swapped out for something else or whatever. Or it just seemed like we knew we were doing Last Man Standing because the band always does the opening song off the latest record. So that's going to be one right there. We're going to do Welcome to the Garden State because that's the song from the record. Right, so that's two already. That's two already off the new record. Sometimes you want to do 3 or 4 songs because you don't want to bore the audience, and plus you got to play the ones that they want to hear. And when you have 19 records to choose from. Damn. So, but this tour we're like, well, screw it. We're going to play 4 songs anyway. So we started rotating. We had those 2, and then we had Head of a Pin and Distortion, and we had Believe in the Fight as a rotating song, but it just never seemed to rotate in between Head of a Pin and Distortion because we liked those two different songs because we liked the energy that those 2 songs brought. Distortion's a totally different kind of song for Overkill, whereas Believe in the Fight is just, as Dee Dee says, just another fast Overkill thrash song. And not that there's anything wrong with that.
Hell no.
That I love playing the most, but I like having songs that bring different characteristics and different dynamics to the set. And with Head of a Pin, that was much welcomed when we played that because
let me breathe.
All right. Can I get a drink now?
Oh, yeah, brother.
Right out of the gates is Last Man Standing, right into Electric Rattlesnake, right into Hello from the Gutter, right into Elimination, right into Deny the Cross. Well, actually, not right. There's a short break before Elimination just for Bobby to introduce it. But that's, 5 minutes of stamina, and it's like, okay, I'll take the break. But if we put Believe in the Fight there, it's like, no break. Here's another 5 minutes of just.
Yeah, you're gonna be dead up back there.
I'm used to it by now, thanks.
I say on the show, and I mean it when I say it, and I say it all the time. Overkill for me, that's my bread and butter. I love you guys more than any other band in the world. You guys should be in the big four, in my opinion. It should be unequivocal. And honestly, some of the bands you've been in before this band as well, obviously. But just it's good shit, man. Tell me a little bit about how you came to join Overkill. What the offer came on the table, and you were like, hell yeah, I'll be there, or how'd that go down?
I've known the guys in the band for a long time. I've known Blitz and Dee Dee since 1993. They used to play up here all the time at a number of the local clubs up in my area in New York. And I used to be really, really, really good friends with Tim Mallory. So I would basically go to every Overkill sound check, hang out with the band, take them back and forth from the hotel, whatever they needed, basically be the runner. And, I'd always be there, always be on the kit or something, dorking around. Blitz used to call me Sticks. I'm like, oh, let me play a tune. So, I've known my old bands used to open up for them. So I've known them for quite some time. And over the years, we kind of lost contact a little bit when I got in the Shadows Fall, because I started making my own career. So I wasn't around anymore. I was touring, making my own, doing my own thing. But we'd cross paths every once in a while. I'd see him in New Jersey at certain shows and stuff, and we swapped numbers, and we always stayed in touch. And, like usual, if they come to town, I'd go see them, but it always seemed like I was on tour. So one day out of the blue, my phone rings and I look down and I see Blitz, and I go, I wonder what he wants. Because ironically, Overkill was coming to town, but it was like another 6 weeks from then. So it was a little too early for him to be calling me to ask me if I needed, guest list spots. So I call him back up. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, hey, what's going on, man? I'm like, how you been? I'm like, I'm good. How are you? I said, what's up? What's up? And he goes, yeah, me and Dee Dee been talking. I want to know if you want to join the band. I'm like, give me 5 minutes to just talk to my wife. I'll call you right back. Like, honey, we got something to talk about. So literally, it was a 2-minute conversation with my wife, and I call him back. I'm like, yeah. He goes, you don't want to think about it? I'm like, no. He goes, what are we going to do about Flotsam? I'm like, we're not going to say a fucking word yet. That's what we're going to do. We're going to first, we're going to make sure that I'm in the band before I go. I'm not going to, leave my job before knowing I have another job,
Right, hell yeah.
Unless, you're getting hired.
Right. I'm not in the burning bridges business, goddamn.
I wish we could have kept it where I could have done both, but logistically, it just would have been impossible to do both bands, especially with both of them trying to work as much as they are.
Yeah,
I really didn't want to leave Flotsam. I didn't even want. I was almost going to do the new record too. I had actually started doing demos for the End of Chaos, and then it got to a point. And it got to a point where they're like, "No, we're just going to use Ken, and he's probably going to join the band too." I'm like, "All right, that makes more sense," because they're like, "It doesn't make sense for you to do the record and you're leaving the band." I'm like, yeah, but I want to do the record. Screw sense. I'm just being greedy.
It is a great record. Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'm sure it's no accident. I mean, it's because you're a kick-ass drummer, but you've definitely been involved in some pretty goddamn awesome projects, brother. How's that? Do you ever get a chance to look back and say, man, I've been a part of some pretty cool things here?
As of late, as I have more time off, sometimes I start to reflect a little bit on that stuff, and I have been having those thoughts every once in a while here and there. It's like, holy shit, I can't believe I accomplished that or whatever. You don't really think about it that much when it's all just blurring by, because that's literally what it was. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's it's like I'm like 2019. Holy shit, I'm gonna be fucking 50 next year. I joined Shadows Fall when I was 31. That feels like yesterday. Doesn't feel like 19 years ago. I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking old.
Hey, I'm right there with you, brother. I'll be 50 next year too. So,
but old is a state of mind,
That's
like
right.
I said, I still feel like I'm that 19-year-old kid following the Slayer tour bus, just trying to get an autograph.
So do I, brother. So do I, man. Hey, and as long as you believe that, that's exactly what we are, sir.
Absolutely.
What are some of the highlights though? If someone were to ask you like right on point blank, what's one of the craziest memories you got to hit in the road with some of these bands? What's one of the first memories that jumps into your head?
Ozfest 2005, Shadows Fall main stage. There's nothing on my resume that's ever going to top touring with Iron Maiden and the original Black Sabbath in one summer. Nothing. Yeah, nothing will beat that. Slipknot, Subliminal Verses 2005, us, Lamb of God, Slipknot. That's pretty close because that was 9 weeks of absolute just fucking arena rock insanity. It's like old days kind of, like the 80s, that kind of shit. The stuff that does not happen anymore. Like that Damage Plan, Shadow Ball, come on, with the Abbott brothers. There's another one. I know I haven't named any Overkill tours yet, but we're talking about ones that have factors in them these are
those are mouth tops.
That's a monumental thing. Filling in for Anthrax the first time with the Among the Living lineup. I mean, pretty awesome shit.
Awesome shit, brother.
Becoming friends with Neil Peart. That's my crowning moment.
Oh man,
that's really it. All this things I've done. No, I can say I became friends with Neil Peart. Believe that or not.
Hey,
that's as crazy as that sounds.
I get it, man. In my opinion, he's a god. So
all the people's pictures who went up on my walls from the time I was 8 to the time I was 28. Most of them are in my cell phone, which boggles my mind. Aside from the ones that are no longer with us or whatever.
Right on. Well, brother, I have you on my Skype now, and I feel that way about you, sir. Having you on my Skype is a big deal to me, sir. So
thank you.
That's good shit, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate the fucking body of work, and I look forward to what comes next. And if you don't mind, I know you're taking some time off right now, but what does come next?
Not much though. You're supposed to start getting demos in December, so
wow.
The next U.S. tour will be in February. I think it starts the 27th of February, and that'll go across the Midwest. I think that's going to go down through Florida to the West Coast and then back up and finish in Jersey or somewhere on the East Coast in March. And then we have, we're going to be writing and doing pre-production April, May, June. We have some festivals. July, we have festivals. We have Wacken in August, I believe, or the end of July, one of those months. September, we have a cruise coming up overseas, like a metal cruise in Europe. And I know there's going to probably right now they're saying potential trip back to Japan. So we're looking like we're gonna have a pretty busy year. And in there somewhere we're trying to, write another record.
Put out another record, yeah.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, you better enjoy this week or so, man, because that's gonna go right back to that Blur thing we were just talking about, it sounds like.
I know it is. Sadly, I know it is.
Yep. That's good shit, man. Well, dude, I'll tell you what, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time today, brother.
Cool, man.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, thanks a lot, man, and you have a kick-ass day, and hey, hopefully we can talk again.
Excellent.
Hey, thanks for making time for me, sir.
Have a good one, too.
All right, brother.
Bye-bye. Hey, what's up? This is Jason Bittner from Overkill, and you're listening to Metal-O-Mania.
Frankly, you got a problem with authority. All due respect, you got no fucking idea what it's like to be number one.
I fucking love this band. They are the best band ever, period.